Quick update video just about everything that's been going on around here because we have some very big changes coming. But before we get to that, I'll show you how my little garden is doing. I've been growing and selling microgreens this spring and they've been doing really well. Here are the beet microgreens. They're just about ready to harvest. And you can see the carrots are doing really, really well. They've been liking all this rain that we've been getting. The key to getting your carrots to sprout is to keep the soil nice and moist. And then I have some beets, red and golden. My cucumber plant is getting some size. And my peas in the pea tower are doing really well. We had a couple days in a row where it was really, really hot. So they got a little bit burnt because peas don't like getting hot. But now it's cool again, it's rainy, so hopefully they can recover. And I can harvest some peas, which is always exciting. Eva and I always like to share the peas. And my beans are doing really well too. Here's some purple beans that are starting to pop up. I have some green ones as well. And then the broccoli desperately needs to be harvested. I already harvested some at the right time. You can see that this one I waited a little bit too long. When we had those really hot days, they started to try to bolt a little bit. So that's why they look a little bit funky, but they'll still be fine. I'm actually gonna cut these today. And we'll have some fresh and we'll freeze some. And then when you cut them, you can leave the stalk for a little bit because little shoots will come out of it, as you can see, and then you can harvest those and eat those as well. Some other news as well, as I head over to show you some more of my microgreens, is I hatched out some more baby geckos. And I just recently made a video about those, so make sure you go check that out if you want to learn more about the baby geckos. I'm having some custom enclosures made for my crested geckos soon. So I'm really excited for when that's ready and when I can move them into that and show you guys that. It's going to be big, beautiful, bioactive enclosures. And then back to the garden tour. Here are some more microgreens. These are the kale microgreens. They are ready to be picked. And then the baby chicks I got this year are big enough that I let them in with the adult hens recently, so we'll go show you them. Don't mind the mud, it has been raining a ton. The past couple summers we've been in a drought, so I guess we were due for a very wet season. So here's the babies. There's Apple Butter, my little Silky. Now this one may be a rooster. That's the only straight run that I got. Straight run is when the babies come from the hatchery unsexed. You can see the little comb on there, and females do get a small comb. I really can't tell for sure. I'm hoping and praying it's a female because I cannot keep a rooster. But the other ones I got this year are definitely little hens. So that one right there is Beatrice, my Dominique. And then there's Phyllis. And there is little Gertrude. So if you've seen my videos in the past of how I introduce new chicks to the flock, where I put them in that big cage inside of here so that way the other hens can see them and get used to them in their territory, but they're protected by the cage so they can't peck them. So I did that for a couple of weeks, all went well, so a few days ago I let them loose and everything's going pretty smooth. And, oh, thank you for wiping your muddy beak on me, Fennel. That was very nice. But some very big news that I wanted to share is that soon this won't be my chicken's enclosure anymore. And this whole area won't be my living space either because I'm moving. Steve and I just recently bought a house. Now it's not official because we haven't had our settlement date yet, but that is coming up soon. So don't be surprised. I know I usually post 1 to 2 videos every week, but if I miss some weeks in July and maybe August, don't fret, I will be back. It's just because we have a lot to move and I will be filming the process so you can see how we move all of my chickens and all of my reptiles, and I'll have those in separate videos, of course. and maybe one like combination video too. But you can see the whole process and how we get them moved and how we get them settled in. And then I'll give you a house tour, of course. But I'm so excited. The housing market right now is absolutely insane. So this felt like an impossible task trying to find a house, but it worked out, and I'm really looking forward to moving and bringing you guys along with us and showing you the process. I'm really curious to see how these guys will react in their new home. I'm gonna make their enclosure a lot prettier, a lot nicer, and of course, like this one is, predator proof. I've come up with some ways to make it even more predator proof. So I'm looking forward to showing you that whole process. Now, if you have chickens or livestock or any animals, you know that sometimes it's hard to keep the enclosure looking really nice, especially when the weather doesn't cooperate, kind of like how it's been all spring. Mud is just something you're going to deal with. But luckily this property is up kind of high, so I'm hoping the mud will be more manageable, because where I am now, the chickens are in the backyard and it's the lowest point of the property, so the mud management is a little bit difficult since everything drains back here. So I think this one where we're moving will be easier to maintain and keep looking nice. One thing that wasn't cool was I found this hawk feather very close to my chicken run, but I have it predator proofed so it did not get in, but I don't like the thought that it's this close. But this is just serving as a reminder that predators are always around. There's so many things that want to eat a chicken. And then everything that I grew in my grow bags is doing really, really well. Here's some yellow squash that's getting close to being ready. If you've grown summer squash before, you know that it like doubles and triples in size so fast. So in the next day or two, I could probably harvest some of this. And then over here, we have some zucchini coming in. The peppers are getting some size. And this is why I grew a lot of stuff in grow bags this year. One, because it saves space and it's convenient, but two, I was hoping to find a place so I could move this summer and I can bring the grow bags with me so my crops won't go to waste. And you can see the potatoes got nice and viney. So now I'm gonna go finish packaging up some egg orders, and then we will check in later with some more updates. All right, so it's a few days later and we're about to enter a massive heat wave in Maryland. And in a lot of different places of the country too. But for reference, if you're new to the channel, I'm in Maryland. So it's gonna be especially hard because one, a lot of my chickens are old, and two, last week, most of the days were in the 60s. So if you're going from the 60s to 100 degrees, and with the heat index, it's gonna feel like 110 with the humidity, it's gonna be rough for everyone. So I am freezing some recycled jugs that I fill back up with water, so that way I can put these out there tomorrow in the run so the chickens can lean up against it and get cool if they need to. I'm making big ice cubes that I can put in their water. You can also give them frozen treats. I actually have a whole video on my channel about chicken heat care tips, so check that out if you want to learn more. And then I'm also going to have plenty of drinking stations set up for them tomorrow. If you're worried, you can also go to the local feed store and you can get Save a Chick electrolytes. There's other brands too, this is just the one that I grabbed. You can also find these online. For this one, you mix 1 packet to a gallon of water. But when I give electrolytes, I like to make sure that they have both options. I like to give them a dish with electrolyte water and then a dish with just plain water as well. And then here in my supply cabinet, you see I have some vitamins. It's good to always keep these on hand just in case your chickens need a little extra boost. You can also run fans on them. This will also help keep the bugs away. But if you do that, just make sure that they have an area where they can get away from the fan so it's not constantly blowing on them in case they want to break. You can also give them nice, cold, refreshing treats such as watermelon and cucumbers. Watermelon and cucumbers, for example, are obviously very hydrating, and they're also loaded with vitamins and minerals and even electrolytes, so they'll really help keep them going when it's really hot and humid out. You can also give them herbs, and they are loaded with different medicinal properties that can really help soothe and comfort your hens, as well as boost their immune systems and keep them going strong. Oregano, thyme, mint, basil, and rosemary are some good options. You also want to make sure that your chickens have access to a dust bathing area so that they can keep themselves nice and cool and keep the bugs off that way. I have a video on my channel about how to make a dust bath, so check that out. I will also put the link in the description below. And this one's a no-brainer. Make sure there's access to shade. So yeah, we will see how this week goes. Right now they're all in the coop asleep, so I will keep you updated. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but there's some strange creature howling. That could be someone's dog, but I don't know. Doesn't really sound like a dog. Which is why I keep mine locked in the coop at night, because there are predators everywhere, even in neighborhoods. Alright, so I brought out their frozen ice jug. They have some water with electrolytes and vitamins, and also plain water. I dumped ice water here just to make the ground kind of wet and cool in some spots. And then my mom's gonna bring them some more water in the middle of the day while I'm at work. And their dust bathing station is ready to go. Alright, so far everyone's holding up all right. Obviously it's hot and uncomfortable, but everyone is in pretty good shape. Just been checking on them regularly, making sure they're okay, making sure they're not running out of water. A little tip that might be worth mentioning since we're talking about the heat is if you have a chicken that gets overheated and it's like passing out and like not doing okay, some people might think, oh, it's overheated, I need to dunk it into ice water. Don't do that. I know that might feel like it makes sense, but that will actually put their body into more shock from going from one extreme to the next. You actually want to cool them off with room temperature water. So I just wanted to throw that out there, just in case you encounter an emergency situation like that. Thank God I have not encountered that, and I hope I never have to. But it's always good to research these things and be prepared, just in case that happens. That way you'll already know what to do about it, and you won't have to waste time trying to look it up and figure it out. A few days later, and it is now cool, misty, and in the 70s. But everyone survived the heat. Summer's not over, so we know there will be more hot days. But for now, we're enjoying the little bit of a break. The weather has been so odd this year. Remember to stay tuned and don't be alarmed if I miss a couple videos. Usually I post at least once or twice a week, but there might be a couple occasional little gaps in July and August because I have a lot going on. But once we're all moved and settled in, I will be making regular videos again, and I will update you guys and show you how the move went with all of these crazy chickens.